Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by The Guild. I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. We'll get to the latest Cowboys rumors later on in the show, but first, we're going to take a look at what players could be cut on the defensive side of the ball. And first up is a starter. That's Tyrone Crawford. Now, I do think it is more likely than not that Crawford is still on the Cowboys roster, but I do think there is a scenario in which Crawford ends up maybe getting cut. Step one, of course, is that he actually doesn't fare all that well after cutting weight and staying at defensive end. I don't think that'll happen, but I do want to make note of it. And the big step for part two is that Taco Charlton, Randy Gregory, Coney Ealy, Dorance Armstrong, Charles Tapper, probably multiple of those guys end up stepping up in a big way, and they make Crawford expendable. Now, if the Cowboys make him a post-June 1st cut, they can actually save a pretty significant amount of money. But Crawford is a good leader. As of right now, he's still one of your starters at defensive end, so I don't think he'll end up being cut, but I did want to make note of Crawford. He's probably one of the bigger names that maybe isn't 100% locked in for a roster spot, even though it's probably at about 99%. But I did want to make note of Crawford since we do get plenty of questions about his future for the Cowboys going forward. As you can kind of see on the depth chart there, a lot of big-name defensive ends, or at least notable guys the Cowboys have on their roster. So take it to our next guy who could be cut. That is Charles Tapper. And if I were making him a 53-man roster projection, which we'll do in a later show, by the way, coming up either this week or next, Tapper I don't think would be on it. He is hurt again for the Cowboys. Has played in just 2 career games because of injuries. Now he has a concussion. He suffered it during OTAs. How you get a concussion during OTAs, I'm actually not all that sure, but he found a way to do it, which is just another example of Tapper battling injury issues. And at a certain point, the Cowboys just won't have the patience anymore to try and keep Tapper on the roster. I think of all the guys we're going to discuss here, he might be the most in danger of being cut. He's got to beat out guys like Datone Jones, potentially Randy Gregory as well, and then Coney Ealy, who we'll get to in just a second. But Tapper, because of the injuries, I'm not feeling all that confident about him making the roster this year for the Cowboys. It's a shame because the upside is still there. All right, next up is Coney Ealy, the defensive end who's bounced around as of late, has played with the Panthers, the Jets, and the Patriots. He was supposed to be the breakout player for Carolina after that great Super Bowl, and it just hasn't happened since then. Now, Ealy does bring the positional flex the Cowboys value so immensely, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He can play as a defensive end. He's also shown the ability to be a defensive tackle and could do that on third downs as well. Even though the Cowboys have David Irving there, I don't know if they really need that type of player, but it is another reason to have Ealy on the roster. Now, his contract does not guarantee him a roster spot. He can be cut, and the Cowboys won't eat a lot of dead money. So the question becomes for Dallas, look, which players are you going to keep on the roster? You're going to keep Lawrence, probably Crawford, Taco Charlton, Dorance Armstrong. Those are 3 to 4 locks. Are you going to carry 6 or more defensive ends? If not, someone like Coney Ealy, someone like Charles Tapper and Datone Jones as well are all very much on the roster bubble. So let me know, folks, which defensive end is most likely to be cut. Datone Jones can play some DT. I left him off the list because I thought he was probably the least known name of the 3 guys we discussed there, Ealy, Crawford, and Tapper among them. So I like Jones a lot. I hope he makes the roster. If I'm going with one guy, as we sit right now, I'm going to lean toward Charles Tapper. I just don't know if he's going to be able to hang around because of the injuries. And at a certain point, the Cowboys are just going to say, you know what, Charles? You just can't stay healthy. All right, all you YouTube watchers out there, we have a new Cowboys-only channel. Subscribe today at chatsports.com/CowboysTV. All our Cowboys content, plus some extra stuff, will be there on YouTube. So subscribe today for the best Cowboys coverage out there. 2 more players I want to discuss here. First up is linebacker Chris Covington. And I kind of consider Damian Wilson here, but I don't think you'll see the Cowboys cut Wilson. Covington, though, could be on the roster bubble as we sit right now for the Cowboys, and I think he is. A later round pick out of Indiana. The Cowboys like him, and he does bring good athletic ability, but he has to wow on special teams. If he doesn't, Dallas could keep a Justin March Lillard or a Travion Johnson over him instead. So your top 4 guys, I think, are locks in reality right now. You got a couple guys on there. You got Sean Lee, Jalen Smith, Joe Thomas as well, and of course Leighton Vander Esch. It kind of becomes a battle for those last 1 or 2 spots. We'll assume Damian Wilson is there. Can you beat out Mark Gillard? Can you beat out Travion Johnson? Or one of the UDFAs and Joel Lanning or Kyle Cairo, and then Ed Pinkett as well on that roster. So someone's going to get cut of those 5 guys on the screen, likely multiple guys. Maybe one is kept. Covington was the more notable guy, I think, of those guys, so I made note of him. Let's get then to cornerback, and look, we know who the top 4 guys are. In some order, it's Byron Jones, Cheeto, Jordan Lewis, and Anthony Brown. Who gets that 5th spot for the Cowboys, however, is very much up for grabs. And Marquez White, a kid I like coming out of Florida State, definitely has the size and the length to fit a Chris Richard-style defense. But he's going to have to earn his roster spot. Duke Thomas might have made it last year had he not been hurt. I kind of think the Cowboys stashed him with an injury anyway, but that's okay. And you got Cam Kelly, who I almost put on here, but as a UDFA, I didn't think that was fair to him. Travarius Ward, Donovan Olumba, also guys to monitor at the quarterback spot. Multiple guys of these 5 are going to be cut. I don't know which one it will end up being, because the Cowboys, I think, will only take 5 corners, maybe 6 if they take 3 safeties, which I think would benefit Cam Kelly. But which player of those top 3 guys should be the Cowboys' number 5 cornerback? Is it Cam Kelly, who can also play some safety out of San Diego State? Is it former Texas kid Duke Thomas? Or is it FSU's Marquez White? And if you think it's somebody else altogether, let me know in the comments section who it is. As of right now, I think I might lean toward Duke Thomas if Richard thinks he's a fit. I'm not sure that he is because he's not quite as big as the other 2 guys. But that is a low-key roster battle to watch throughout the preseason.